So I think it's time we do some more dark stuff. So today I'm going to show you guys how you can make some crazy sounding dark beats. I'm going to show you guys a sample that I made from scratch. And trust me, I did some super unique stuff on this one. And then I'm also going to slap on some crazy drums at the end. So make sure you guys stay to the end of the video to see all the crazy tricks on the sample. And if you need some inspiration for the drum bounce as well, make sure to check that out too. So let's not waste any more time. Let's just get straight to it. Alright, so we're here in FL and I just made this sample off camera, but I was actually really feeling how the sample turned out, so I wanted to break it down for you guys. Now I'm firstly gonna play the sample for you guys just so you can hear how it sounds. So the sample actually turned out crazy. I'm super happy with this one. And it may actually look a bit complicated right here, but trust me, it's actually super simple to make. The key for this sample is pretty much everything I did with the effects. But I'm going to start off with going through each sound and also show you guys how you can make something similar. So we're going to start off with this first sound right here. This is actually a one-shot from my Imperial one-shot kit. It's using this peck bell right here. So as for the BPM of the sample, it's 165 right here, and the key we're working in is D minor. But to be fair, I actually have this sound shifter right here on the master, which is just pitching down the sample by 5 semitones. Now this is how the pattern for the bell looks. As you can see, it looks super simple. I think it's actually just 5 notes in this bar right here, but it sounds like this. So like I said, the pattern is super simple, but what makes it sound so cool is actually the effects for it. And as you can see, I have 7 different effects on the side right here. So you can just go here and take the effects off and take a listen to how the bell sounds without any effects on. So it's actually very easy to make the pattern when you don't have any effects. So if you want to make something similar to this one, you pretty much just start on the root note right here. And then you just want to extend it out until here. Then the next steps for this is just to find a nice sounding pattern inside of right here. And when you're making these dark type of patterns, you want to focus on these half steps that are right here and right here. So if you see all these gray highlighted notes right here, they are pretty much all the notes that are inside the D minor scale. So when we have this D right here, you just want to use either these notes right here, or you can use these notes right here. It's pretty much up to you. Just find a catchy type of pattern. As you can see, the half steps are literally every single note that I'm using. So I'm not using any other notes besides the half steps, except obviously from the D right here and here, which is the root notes of the scale. So that always works. But as long as you're using these half steps that are right next to each other, you're pretty much going to be all set for the dark melody. Now, as for the effects, I started off with this halftime. The cool thing I did about this is that I actually turned this effects knob all the way to the left, and then I just put this at half a bar. This is pretty much going to make the bell have a pulsing effect on the halftime. So it sounds like this. So you can really hear the cool effect it gives. The next thing I added was just some saturation using FabFilter right here. Then I also just slapped on a crystallizer at about 50%. Also some roam right here at about 30% just to give it some more reverb. RC20 just using the Vinyl 3 preset. So with these effects on, the bell sounds like this. So the main melody is definitely starting to sound a bit different, but there's actually one more step to make the melody a bit more unique as well. And that is actually this preset in Portal right here. So I'm using this Trials Bank and it's this Microsoft Pinball preset. I just turned the mix to about 36% right here. And then lastly, I just added this EQ to filter out the sound. So the Portal preset and the EQ is really going to give the melody that type of touch it needs. So just take a listen to it. So you can really hear how it added that delay and filter out the sound perfectly. So that right there is actually a super unique way to make a simple dark pattern. Now for the next sound is these strings right here. So these strings are actually the only sound that are not coming from my Imperial one-shot kit. The rest of the sounds are actually all from my kit. But this sound is actually coming from this lyrical cello from Sonoscore in Contact. And the idea behind this pattern is actually also super simple. So it actually just starts on the root note right here on this first bar. And then for the second bar right here, I again go up for these half steps right here. I just put 2 of them instead of 1. Then for this third bar, I'm pretty much just adding this G5 as a transition note between these ones. So it can kind of go downwards. Then again, for this last part, I'm just using the half steps right here, and together with the bell it sounds like this. So you can hear it goes super clean together with the bell. All I did for the effects on the strings is just this roam right here at 30%, and also this EQ just to filter out the high end and the low end of the strings. So with those two sounds, I felt like the sample really had the middle section of the frequency range. So then I wanted to add some more higher frequencies so you can differentiate between the sounds. And therefore for the higher frequencies, I actually chose this bell from my one-shot kit again, but this time it was this high bell right here. As you can hear, it's already a bit of a lighter type of sound. So again, a super simple pattern. I'm just following these half steps right here. But as you can see, I'm all the way up here at F7. So it's actually 2 octaves above both the bell and the strings. Now the effects for the bell is actually the exact same effects that we had on the first bell we were using for the main melody. So as you can see, I just routed it to the same mixer track, but I turned up the volume for the second bell just so it was a bit more present. But then we needed to fill out the sample a bit more. So I again went into my Imperial one-shot kit and I just went to these textures right here and I dragged in this office talk texture right here. And with that texture right there, I actually also went into the perk loops and I just dragged in this perk loop 7. You might think it's a bit subtle, but it actually adds a lot to the sample. So to finish off the sample, we needed a sub bass just so we could fill out that low end of the sample. So again, I went into my Imperial one-shot kit. I just went into these basses and I used this stash bass right here. This is how the pattern for the bass looks like. As you can see, I did some cool stuff. You can actually just hit S on your keyboard and it's going to turn on this slide mode right here. So I just put up a slide note 1 octave above right here, and also these 2 slide notes on the second part, just so we can give the bass a bit more life so it's not straightforward. So you can hear the slide right there. So that was pretty much the whole sample right there. The last thing I really changed up was just the pitch of the strings. So on this part right here, I just used a sound shifter on the strings. So I just had this one right here, pitch up the strings 1 octave. Just so we can have a cool switch up between the low octave strings and the higher octave strings. So those are some pretty cool and unique tricks for the sample. But now I think it's time we do some crazy jumps over this one. Alright, so before I put on the drums, I actually just pitched down the sample by 3 semitones, so it's actually now in B minor. And then I also just structured out the stems like this, just so it's a bit easier to arrange. As for the drum sounds, they are actually all coming from my No Limit drum kit. So if you want to go check out the drum sounds, just use the link down below. So I think I'm going to go with this shot clap right here. Just short and crispy. We can add a short open hat for the start as well. And as for the hi-hat pattern, I actually think I'm just going to use a MIDI from my No Limit drum kit as well. Let's try this keys one right here. Yeah, this one pretty much goes crazy with the sample. I think I'm just going to go into the hi-hat and turn up this out knob a little bit. Just so it makes the hi-hat a bit shorter. Yeah, I feel like it sounds better. Now we definitely need some snares for this one as well. See if we can add a nice roll at the end as well. Ooh, I think this reverse hat can go perfectly as well. Maybe right here. Oof, that is crazy. Take a listen to that one. Now we need to go in with the 808. So I'm going to use this gear one right here. So just going to play around with the pitch a bit. Yeah, I think this is hard. Let's layer that with a kick for sure. Oof. Yeah, that's hard. So let me just quickly arrange this one and I'll show you guys the final beat. Alright, so this is how the full beat turned out. So for the intro we have no strings, just the bells from the one-shot kit.
Shut up, Marko. Marko.
Then it drops into the hook. The first string comes in. chop right there before the second strings. For the verse, we chopped up the strings right there, removed the 808 and added the sub bass. Here we just have the hook again. Then it fades out to the intro, back with the sub bass, no drums.